Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
Be able to only, do the sourcing. You should be able to do the sourcing. Don't make your life about packing boxes because it's the most minimum of wage type of job. Now, I mean, we've built our business, on not doing that, but we have a lot of things going on. We source, of course, for a lot of other people. People pay for other groups, so we have a lot of people sourcing. But the margins are a lot higher, and if you have time, then you have a full-time job. So other people may have time to go out and source and spend that time working on finding new products. But when you don't, there's a lot of tools, and once you find wholesale sources, if it's not a manufacturer, distributors are, some of them have tens of thousands of products. And if you can get some kind of spreadsheet, then you can use a tool like, we talked about on Monday.
Yep.
And there's many of them out there, to process that list down to, a smaller number. So you have tens of thousands, you might get it to a few hundreds, and then you can research that and decide what you're interested in selling.
Yep. And
I have a great distributor, actually, that I'm going to share. I really don't use them anymore. I could, but it's Hot Shots. You ever heard of them?
No.
I have their catalog actually right here. I just got in the mail this week for 2016. And they're basically all the hot sauces they're the distributor for. And a lot of them you can order from direct, but their prices are the same or even more if you order directly. So, you need your regular information you would, and really check out this company. They have, a ton of products. They have, you can actually they'll even private label for you. They have a whole line of hot sauces. Actually haven't really looked at this catalog, but all the big companies, Blair's, which is really the best hot sauce out there. A lot of people, haven't heard of them. It's more, the ass-kicking hot sauce, and I forget what those other crazy ones are. But Blair, is one of the guys that developed the new hottest pepper. I forget what it's
called. Ghost pepper?
No, the ghost peppers, have been around forever, but there's a new, American one that they developed. I was looking for the information on the private labeling, but basically I think you only have to buy about 50. You send them the information, and they'll you email it to them, and they'll label all the products. I mean, they have all the the big companies, even Stubbs, which I think I've shared in some of the groups. I know it's a lot cheaper than Walmart. It's only $3, but that's in a glass bottle. You of course have to always be careful about glass. And you can't send glass into FBA, of course. But this is a small enough distributor, even though they probably have 1,000 different products in their catalog. They're a small enough distributor that, you can call them up, you have a rep you can talk to, and they'll tell you, if the bottle's glass or not, or whatever information you want. And they have a lot of big brands, of course. Evan Williams makes a hot sauce now. They sell, they make mini bottles. They have all the gift boxes like you see at Christmas, the Three Stooges, and there's, a lot of this you can't sell, of course, because it's glass, but, there's also a ton of stuff that's not in glass. There's a lot of seasonings. They have a lot of rubs and spices. And we also bought, they've got like the hot bacon and the hot, all the hot jerkies and all those kind of products. This one actually was a really good seller, and we bought sold tons of cases. I don't know if you can see this, but it's called Gator Hammock.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
If you're not in the South, you probably might not have seen it. I don't know if you see it around nationally, but every major brand, Dave's Insanity, and they also sell. They're showing the Florida Gator sauce, which is like collegiate. They have all the collegiate hot sauces for all the different, college teams around the country. So it's just a great mix. Okay, and of course here's all of Blair's. Blair's has death sauces. They have sauces. We used to make a ton of money following them on their website. They would make special ones for like Halloween and Christmas, a special sauce, and they'd only sell like 100 bottles. And some of those we sold for $300 or $400 on eBay back, before we were really selling much on Amazon.
Wow.
And they have different reserves, and he's basically making like one pot of the sauce. Or whatever, however they make it, and then they bottle it and sell it, and they never sell it again. And there's a lot of collectors for Blair's sauce. They had one that was called 16 effing million, and it was pure capsaicin, like in a jar inside of some kind of capsule that they sold.
Yep.
And those, I haven't looked lately, but they were selling for several $100 just for that. And of course, you can buy capsaicin in other places,
like pepper spray.
Yeah, but I don't think it's pure capsaicin. I mean, touching that, will burn.
Yeah.
I don't know, burn anything it touches. So.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's not pure. So, this is a great, it's called hotshotdistributing.com. If anybody wants to check that out, their catalog is, I don't even know if it has pages, but it's, a 50 or 60 page catalog with all the advertisements. So, they do charge shipping, but it's, whatever the regular shipping is, and they every time we would order, they got it out, basically the same day that we ordered it. So, it was really fast.
Are they out of North Carolina? Is that the one?
Yeah, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Yep. It's hotshotshot.sauce.com. It looks like. I guess that's their commercial.
Okay. So
commercial site.
In the book it says Hotshot Distributing, so they probably own both of them.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting.
All right. So, tonight we're going to talk about, how you can easily find wholesale distributors, and, based on the product. And what I've always told everybody that's asked, and I've talked about this quite a bit, is you should always find a good product that you want to sell first and work your way backwards from there. So how we've done it, and we've helped people in the past, is we will, we find the product and we just contact the manufacturer and ask them for a local, give them our area code and zip code and city and state, and tell them we're looking for a local, if they sell direct, or can they send us to their local distributor for finding their products. So, I've really never found any companies that, told me they couldn't give me that information or wanted any more information in our experience, because, that's not the place to, explain to them if you're selling on Amazon or, whatever you think you need to tell a distributor, which should be the least amount of information possible. So, it's to get yourself in the door. So don't tell them I'm an Amazon seller, I'm looking to do this. Tell them that you are, looking to purchase their product. And, one paragraph is fine, as long as you tell them, where you're at, so they know who to put you in contact with. And then once you talk to those people, because when you talk to a manufacturer, you're usually just going to be talking to a customer service person who, really doesn't care what you're doing. They're going to be passing you on to somebody else. So, save your time and effort for, the people, who you really need to put that effort into. Now you do a lot more wholesale, obviously, than we do. So, what's your experience as far as, that line of finding people?
No, that's exactly it. Excuse me. I think a lot of people kind of strive to reach the level where they're doing wholesale. That's kind of considered the holy grail because it's less effort, it's lower profit. But a lot of people are just really intimidated by it. I mean, they think that, you need to belong to a secret society or have a membership in something or be a huge corporation for these people to talk to you. But I've never ran into a company that refused to talk to me. I've ran into a few that wouldn't sell to Amazon sellers. But most of the time, it's just as straightforward as you said. You find the website, find contact information, shoot them a short email. I've sent emails as short as, please provide contact information for wholesale orders, because like Sean said, the first person to get your email is probably not a person who's going to ask questions. They're just routing you somewhere. And most of the time, it's a very quick process. After you do one or two, you get more confidence, and they're a lot easier. But there's certain very little barriers to doing it. But I continually find wholesalers that I'm shocked that no one else is selling them on Amazon. Because there's profit there, and Amazon's not on the listing, so there's tons of stuff out there still.
Well, we post in the group, several times a week. Manufacturers and sometimes importers that really don't have much of a presence at all on Amazon, and I don't know if people take advantage of that, because it takes quite some time to go from talking to somebody to getting the product to possibly creating listings. Most of the things we post already have listings created, but so I'm not sure how. A few people have told me that they took advantage and actually have exclusives now with Amazon based on what we had posted. But for the most part, I don't know if people are using these. I mean, we may go back and see if there's a presence on Amazon now, based on what we had posted. But you can go back and look and search hashtag wholesale. I don't know, there may be hundreds of them that we've posted by now.
Yep.
In the group. So, that should be a great source that I don't think many people are taking advantage of. But going forward, you should definitely at least be looking at those, see if that's something you want to take advantage of.
Yep. And another thing we've done that I think doesn't occur to a lot of people is, we used to buy a lot through Entertainment Earth, which is one of the distributors that we shared on a previous podcast. There were a couple of items, several items that they were kind of out of stock on continuously. I mean, I never could get a PO into them. They were constantly back ordered, and it was stuff that we were starting to move a lot of. So I looked, and several of them were by the same manufacturer. So I contacted the manufacturer, and again, I couldn't get it from Entertainment Earth, so I didn't feel unethical. But I contacted them and said, hey, I'm looking at buying wholesale from you, what are your terms? And sure enough, they sell wholesale. So I was able to get the same items I was getting for Entertainment Earth at a cheaper price, and they had them in stock, so I could order them right then. Now, obviously, that only works if you're ordering, $300, $500 worth of things from them. But if you find a couple hot sellers from a distributor and they're all the same brand, it doesn't hurt anything. Especially if I email them from my personal email when I'm reaching out and I'm already buying it elsewhere, because that way they're not going to tie it back and get you in trouble or anything. But it doesn't hurt to ask. Now, some of them have said, yes, we do sell wholesale, but only through distributors, and they point me right back to a distributor. And in that case, then you just that's the deal. But that happens in retail all the time. I mean, there's no loyalty. You buy from someone. When you get big enough, you go up the food chain. It's just like drug dealing. Once you move up the food chain, you just move up the food chain. So don't be afraid to reach out to to a manufacturer or just, ask. It never hurts to ask. I've never had a company get mad at me or block me or anything else just for asking. So one of the things I was going to do that we mentioned, I'll go ahead and share my screen out, is just walk through basically finding a wholesaler. And I went ahead and this afternoon I took 5 minutes and just thought of a product I bought recently, looked it up, found the wholesaler, and walked through the whole process just to validate, that this was going to be a dead end, because you do hit a dead end occasionally. But just kind of show you the thought process I went through, and then if anyone has any products they need help running down or wants us to walk through another one, I'd be more than happy to. So recently bought double wall glasses. Those are the traditional liquor glasses that you see served in bars. Let's see which one I bought. And I liked the quality of them. I thought they were pretty nice. I had no complaints of them. And I don't know how I found them initially, so I'll just go right to the product so you can see. Oh, old fashioned, that's what it was. Okay, so these are just double wall old fashioned glasses. They're traditional, barware. Ordered some. They were decent price, decent reviews. Liked them, and then so once I got them, I came back and I thought, okay, these are by Luigi Bormioli, who I'd never heard of, but let me see what else they have on there. So then I just searched for that manufacturer and saw that they had quite a few glasses. And I won't go through this entire process. We can cover it at a later date, but I'm sure most of you guys have some familiarity with this. But I went through and picked several of the products, the top products. A few of them, there were several that weren't prime, that were decent sellers. Most of them, Amazon was not on. And they mostly had decent reviews. See, there's 5 stars all the way across. And I was impressed with the glasses. They're high quality and they're reasonable price. So I thought, I wonder where you can buy Luigi Bormioli. So all I did was the same exact name I searched on Amazon. You just go to your favorite search engine, Bing, Google, what have you. And I just searched Luigi Bormioli Wholesale. So you'll get a list. Most of the time, Amazon's got their little sponsored link in there. Just make sure they don't lose you. But you'll see a list of different companies and things. Typically, just from doing this, what I avoid is anything that doesn't sound related to the company name. Like this says Luigi Bormioli Glassware, and it came up with a wholesale tag. But you see it's from winestuff.com. Or Coil Wholesale, that came up as a match, but it says it just lists generic wedding favors and wedding party favors. So that tells me they may carry, just these champagne flutes, but not the whole line. So I went through and looked at all these links, and they were all pretty much dead ends, the bottom ones. But see, the top link is the company name, the website, Luigi Bormioli. So click on that, and that brings you to the company website. So the first thing I look on here is I scroll right to the bottom whenever I get one of these websites and see if there's a list on where to buy or wholesale. A good percentage of time there'll be a link down here that says distributors or wholesale or that type of thing. This one does not have one. So the next place I went to was the About Us, and that just tells about the company history, and there's no mention. So then I went to the FAQ. And it says, where can I purchase? And it says retail stores. And they're carried in Bed Bath & Beyond and several other ones. So there's no mention of wholesale anywhere on this website. A lot of people would just stop there, because there's no wholesale link. There's no easy distributor. You have a dead end. So all I did was I went down to Contact Us, and they have a website form. So I just typed in name, my personal email, didn't leave a phone number, and I just said, I am interested in purchasing your product wholesale, and hit send. And within about 2 hours, I had an email back saying, greetings, this is so-and-so for Luigi Bormioli. Here's our application for wholesale. Here are the terms, the minimum order quantity. I got everything I needed, and they told me what they need to buy. So this is one of those cases where I guarantee the majority of people would pass it by because it's not easily attainable, or they would buy a couple of products from one of these other wholesalers, which I would be willing to bet are some of the few products that are on Amazon as Prime. Bed Bath & Beyond carries a limited set of them. So I have the wholesale information from them. I'm probably not going to fall through because we carried similar products before, and just not something we're into. But that's definitely another wholesale lead that you could feel free to run with. And again, there's several products I saw on Amazon that just based on their price list, there's a decent amount of money to be made in them, and they're pretty good sellers. Here's one that's and I know Sean covered this Monday, but just as a caution, everything we're looking at right now is whack because it's Q4. So don't base any sourcing decisions on pricing or, what's in stock or anything, because everything is just nuts. But, here's one that's a sales rank of 58,000 home and kitchen. So that would, be, I don't know, what, 6 to 8 a month probably, Sean?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in that ballpark. So, you're not going to make $1 million on it, but if you could sell 6 to 8 a month, and there are no other prime sellers, at least in the buy box price, $31.99, you could come in at $34.99, $35 and easily get the buy box more than likely. It has, decent sales rank, comes and goes. The price looks like it's just up for fourth quarter. So like I said, don't make any sourcing decisions in Q4, but bottom line is they have a wide assortment of products that would work for wholesale. So that's basically the process I find. Anything I order from Amazon that I'm interested in, I just work backwards to try to find the wholesaler. Hot sauce, Sean was just talking about that one. More than likely, we could pick one of these hot sauces and run it back to a wholesaler. It may actually be the wholesaler he uses, but just, look for stuff that you like. Just Cholula. I see this in the stores all the time. So it looks like it's made by Cholula. So all I would do on that is I would copy Cholula, go to the search, and just say wholesale. Hot sauce. So the distributor that Sean mentioned, that's who carries them. So, that right there, that would have led you right to the wholesale and distributors. Looks like Dollar Days, which is primarily a liquidation dealer. They have a bunch of the individual packets that they're liquidating out. But most of the time, it will lead you back to where you need to go.
Right. And a good thing to note here is this is an item that's glass, obviously. But if this is a good seller, this is ranked 2,500 and it's all merchant fulfilled. So it's a good selling product. It's a good selling brand. Obviously, every brand, almost every brand is not going to have every item they make in glass. So you can find a good selling item and find other items that aren't in glass that you can sell. So the point would be just to find good selling items, and then possibly look into what other products they have. And some of their other products might not even be listed on Amazon that you could bring to Amazon, create your own listings, and be the only seller, at least for a while, with a brand that people are already looking for.
Yeah, and even if Amazon is on the listing, like assuming this could be FBA item, typically Amazon, in my experience anyway, will stay away from, they will do multi-packs, but they will stay away from like variety packs. So I don't know if this is available from the wholesaler as a 5-pack. It doesn't look like it because I see individual shots. But I would guess that these are all individually available. So someone just bought them and took 5 popular flavors and sold them as a 5-pack, which in rare instances, Amazon will get on those, but typically they avoid them. I mean, one of my best sellers that has a stupid low sales rank is a 3-piece set that Amazon, they sell each of the items, and the sales rank is under 5,000 for these. They sell each of the 3 items, but they have never ever jumped on my listing because they just don't want to go through the hassle of making a 3-pack.
Right. They only will sell multi-packs, that are different items, if it's created by the manufacturer or whatever source they're buying from, which is almost always the manufacturer.
Yeah.
For Amazon purchases. So, if you're, if it's something that's been put together by somebody, they're never going to compete with you. They're not going to take your multi-pack that you created and ever come in and compete. Yeah,
and I don't know if it's laziness or just efficiency, but and same with like the Luigi Bormioli glasses. Amazon, even if they're on some of those listings, then I would look and see, okay, what are some popular, it's almost like bundling. What are some popular bar sizes, or what are some popular multi-packs? Maybe they sell, a 4-pack of shot glasses. You can come in with an 8-pack of shot glasses, or a 4-pack of shot glasses and 4 old fashioned, and just give it a shot and work around Amazon. So just about anything other than hoverboards that you bought that you like, you can type in and work backwards. And find the wholesaler. If for whatever reason this basic search term doesn't work, wholesale, then my next go-to is distributor. So let's find something else, and we'll try to work backwards from there. So I don't know, bicycle seat. I haven't bought one of those in years, so that's no one best sell. I typically avoid like the top sellers, just because once you hit that kind of velocity, everybody and their brother's going to be on it. So I typically cannot compete with those. But I will pick one that has, great ratings, or one that I bought that I like.
Now, what? Sorry to interrupt you, but what?
Yeah, no problem.
What is this plugin that you're using to show you all the ranks in the search like this?
That is. I don't know, to be honest with you, but I don't run a ton of extensions, I don't think. It might be this DS Amazon Quick View. Let's see real quick.
I don't think I've ever seen that one before. I have seen.
Yep. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Add Amazon rankings a search page, and then you can hover over the image to see the full product description, which I use a lot. So you hover over here, and it pops up. I don't know if you can see it with the video windows, but over in the right-hand corner of my screen, it pops up the dimensions, the shipping weight, the basic stuff. I like Bell Sports. That's a popular brand. You see it at Walmart, you see it everywhere. It'd probably be hard to get great discounts on that, but that's certainly one that I would take a look at. So I would start with Bell Sports. And then, the same routine that we've done, just go to your favorite search engine. There's Bell Helmets, which I'm assuming is going to be the same thing. So just go to their website and just look for wholesale or distributors down at the bottom. About Bell, retail sales and pro deal. So if I don't see anything blatant here on wholesale, this would probably be one that I would reach out to. Just contact them and ask them what the deal is, or come back and just search for that same search, except with distributors. I didn't even do wholesale, did I? Not DHgate. You can avoid them. AliExpress is going to give you knockoffs. So you'll learn the list of sites to avoid that are either going to try to sell you access to the website or going to try to sell you something similar or a pirated version. But DHgate, AliExpress is another website of Alibaba's, which is private label stuff, which you don't want to do that if you're searching for a brand name. Wholesale Central is another pay site. So that's pretty much a dead end. People are just trying to loop you in on those links. So then I search for distributor. BRG Sports. I don't know if it's the same thing or not. East of Bell Sports. But that certainly looks promising. So this looks like a dealer registration. So that tells me they at least do authorized dealers, basically. So from here, there's a register button. You could try registering. Here's, we're basically on the site for Bell BRG Sports, which I am assuming, we'll verify, I'm assuming is their reseller. But here you're right on the site. So from here, just, read through the links and see if there's a way to sign up. If not, click register or contact us, and away you go. So it's not a difficult process. It just requires a little bit of sleuthing sometimes, which I happen to enjoy, and then just some contact, basically. Melissa posted a question. I'm going to jump over here real quick. Do you find Costco and Sam's Club to be pretty competitive to wholesale? Yeah, I've heard Sean comment on this a few times also. I found them to be more competitive than wholesale sometimes. I've actually found items there that were cheaper than I could get them for wholesale, and Walmart for that matter. So, yeah, those are decent options. I know Sean does, I believe, quite a bit from Sam's Club, or has done over the years.
Yeah. I mean, when building bundles, it's good. There's not really much of a return. I am a member of all three. I don't know, they don't have BJ's everywhere, but I'm a member of BJ's, Sam's, and Costco, and we do try and source there a lot. The clearance items are great, and they might have a whole pallet of them, but it's just depends on, buying at full price is never good for us. From those places, people who are buying a lot more than us, buying truckloads of items, want no competition. So, if they buy an item and they're only making 10 to 20% ROI on it, they're happy with that, being, a giant seller, but we can't compete with that. So, what happens is the people like us don't ever buy them because, the returns are so low. So almost every item that you scan at Sam's that's not on clearance, outside of this holiday season is, has very low returns in our experience.
Yeah, and it kind of touches on a theme that I've heard Sean talk about quite a bit too, and I've talked about with other sellers, is it all comes down to the barrier to entry, so to speak, the effort required to get the product. So if you look at, sourcing, walking into Sam's Club or wholesale is fairly easy. All you need is a membership. Scanning the clearance section at Walmart is fairly easy because it's a small shelf. Those are all the things that are going to be, I think, crowded and tough to make your money on. It's the extra effort things like scanning an entire aisle, like Sean recommends doing. Don't just spot check or hit clearance, but scan the entire section. It's running down the wholesalers that don't have a wholesale link, contacting them and going the extra mile. That's where you kind of start to thin out the herd and get to some more profitable products. And then the question about going to ASD, I kind of lump that in the same barrel. I mean, I've thought about going to ASD a couple of years, but to me, I don't see the upside to go into a conference with a bunch of other resellers with a captive audience with, people selling toys. I know people make some decent deals there, but to me, there's just way too much competition.
Yeah, I mean, almost every person that goes there as an attendee are Amazon sellers.
Yep.
So, I don't really think that particular one is a great place to go. Now, if you want to hear a lot of people speak and, be able to network with other sellers, and, there's a lot of great speakers and a lot of information to learn there. And you can make deals with liquidators. I mean, there's a ton of liquidators there. So ASD is a convention or a trade show. That's a giant trade show floor that takes several days to go through with tons of distributors, wholesale, and liquidation. So, if that's what you're looking for, then, it's great. But going there to source product, not so great, especially if you're not interested in liquidation, because there's tons of sellers selling truckloads and pallets of banana box type liquidation that, you might really be able to do well with. But if that's not what you're going for, then that's not the best place to go. There's a lot of other conventions, where wholesalers are trying to market to retailers, and those are the type of places you should go. I wouldn't say that the best place is a place that's marketing to Amazon sellers, because almost everyone there is an Amazon seller.
Yeah.
And they're all, in that same field of, every buyer there is looking to buy the same stuff you are.
And there's some big money rolls through there too, so it's going to be hard to talk somebody into a good deal there, I think. But it's a good write-off if you want to go to, was it Vegas, I think it is?
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a write-off vacation, then have at it. But now I have been to some of the local like gift shows and niche shows because those aren't really heavily attended. There's very few Amazon resellers there, and it's a great place to find the new product that hasn't really made its way on Amazon yet. There's very light. Almost all my exclusives came from venues like that. So that's the kind of place where you can go and, make a case for, why you would be an asset to them, how you could sell on Amazon. We talked about that in another webinar, but, basically you have people that created a new product and they're there just trying to sell it. They're not there because they want to learn how to sell on Amazon. They want to move their product. So if you go in there and make the case for how you can sell their products on Amazon for free, and you'll buy at wholesale terms or whatever you want to set up and, explain the whole process like we mentioned, step them through the process of what you do with the product. You list it, label it, price it, prep it, pack it. It has to have, an inch of dunnage and just try to overwhelm them with all the rules and regulations and then just tell them, but I'd be willing to do that for free for you. And then there you have an exclusive. Most of the people there do not want to spend their time doing the stuff that we do basically.
Right. And, the thing to remember is we're just showing you how, how to track down a product, not, I think as Mark said, how do we track down products other than things that we previously bought or do you? We're just showing you an example. So when you find a product that you think you want to wholesale, this is the way that, you would do it. So use the same ways to find profitable products. If you want to look at the top 100 or top 1,000 in a category, I think what Mendy had talked about in shoes, if anybody watched the video that I posted in the mastermind group today, he said a great way is to find, and there's no real great way to find these products, but look for, top 1 or top 10 products in certain subcategories. So, in a shoe video, I think they were talking about work shoes, so the number 1 item in work shoes might only be 20,000 in shoes or, 10,000 or wherever it is. But those subcategories, number ones are going to be a hot seller and they may not be, the same as, a number 1, in the whole shoe category, of course. Mm-hmm. So that's a good way to start. It's really about, like Mark said, following rabbit trails, and you really have to find those, find the products that you want to sell. You either start looking at everything like we do when we're, scanning whole aisles in retail stores, or you have to start at the other end and find the products that you want to sell and work your way backwards. So once you find that good selling product, find a way to contact the manufacturer. And, it's rare that the manufacturer is only going to be selling one product. So, once you get in on one product, you can expand to their whole product line.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, the same concept Sean says about scanning a whole aisle, it applies for a wholesale. Once you get a wholesale account, look up every single thing they offer. I mean, they'll just look at the things already that you already know about, scan everything, because most of the time the product that I contact a wholesaler for is one that I end up not selling or not selling very many of. I find some other, product that just wasn't doing well. And if I find products already on Amazon but don't have prime sellers, those are the first ones I try. I buy a minimum quantity a case and ship them in, because you never know when someone's waiting for it to come in stock for prime, or just don't buy it because it's not prime. And if you get stuck trying to find a wholesaler for manufacturer, feel free to PM me or PM Sean, and he can get it to me, or he can help you find it. But that's one of the things we can certainly do, is help you run down the wholesaler. Niche conference, I will show you the one that I went to a few times here in Florida.
There's a good website actually called 10 Times that I've went to a few, and some of the things that we've looked at, we've been to a couple and found some good products and shared some good products about is wedding shows and wedding expos.
Yeah.
Now, they're not really geared for wholesale, but all the manufacturers are there. You're going to be able to see all the great products, and, weddings are huge and, of course, in the summertime, but all year long as well. And you'll be able to see all those products, see the quality of them, and be able to judge, what you're wanting to buy. There's a lot of retail shows, and what's the other one? Like gift shows they have in my area all the time. I think the best way is to go to one of these trade show sites like 10 times and see what's available in your area. Don't worry about traveling to Vegas or, New York or, Orlando. I mean, we're near Orlando, and there's a ton of them there. But whatever your local big convention center is that you can go to and come home at the end of the day, and don't have to pay, for travel and hotels, and just walk around and, see what they have. But, of course, I'm in Orlando. You might be in another area, but I see, January has 23 just for Orlando, February 23. And over the next year, this one site has 159 listed. So, enter your city. Now, of course, everything's not going to apply to you, and everything's not going to apply to, doing wholesale or buying from manufacturers. A lot of them are for retail people, that will be buying gun shows, weddings, and, quilting shows I see.
Yeah.
But a lot of those, they don't have to be wholesale for you to go to. If it's local and either free or a low cost to go into, you're going to get a lot of ideas, that you can go back and research the wholesale information or just talk to the manufacturers about it. But for wholesale, those gift shows are great. Craft shows, they're selling to, people who are doing all these small craft fairs. So the manufacturers are selling for wholesale at those shows. And, if you can find any in your area, I found convenience store wholesalers and convenience store shows, are great. We have a few wholesalers, and, if you're starting out, convenience store wholesalers are the best way to go, because they don't expect you to buy a lot. They don't expect you to buy a, big master case. They, most of them are going into these places, it's like a small Sam's Club basically. And you can buy, one box of candy or one box of, a ton of stuff you're not going to find at Sam's and the other wholesale clubs that you see in every convenience store. And a lot of strange stuff that you've never seen before. We do. We have a big Cuban population. I'm in Tampa, so there's a big Cuban population here. There's a big, Latin population. So we have a ton of those kind of products at, every local wholesaler you can go to. So the opportunities are really endless, especially at these shows.
And even if you find the show that's not near you or that you can't make it, go ahead and register for it, especially if it's free, because that will give you on the mailing list. And more often than not, you'll get cards and catalogs and all kinds of stuff from the vendors, because the vendors that go there typically pay to be an exhibitor. And part of what they get from that is they get the mailing list of all the attendees. And a lot of especially if they're not that sophisticated of a show, they don't really know for sure whether you showed up or not. So you'll still get all the mailings. It's like this expo that Sean was talking about. There's 265 exhibitors. So if you sign up to attend this, I guarantee you're going to get at least 15 or 20 mailers from them. And I think that's one of the tips that was in one of the wholesale content things that were being sold a few years ago, is basically just sign up so you get on the mailing list. But I've done that. There was a trade show in Atlanta that I wanted to go to and couldn't make it. I went ahead and signed up, and I got all the information I needed. You get a list of exhibitors, you get their contact information, you'll get their catalogs typically, and then you can just browse on there and start making contacts. So that's one way to kind of virtually attend it. This gift show, that's one of the ones that Sean was mentioning. I've been to this one a few times and picked up a couple of the exclusives there. It's completely free. They even reimburse you for parking. It's 3 days. It's not huge. I'd say there's probably 100, 150 vendors. But, there's a wide variety. Some of them come from California, some of them from Miami, some of them are local, and, there's just about something for everyone. So I sign up for this every year, whether I go or not. I just look at the different attendees and, see who's going to be there. Melissa, there is a ton of opportunity. It's just, who's willing to, go after it. A lot of people, I think retail arbitrage isn't easy, but it's probably the least threatening to people because everybody's been in the Walmart before and everybody can go look at products. It's getting the confidence that you have a real business to sign up for these and to go present yourself as a real business person is where a lot of people stumble. And, so don't have a hang up thinking, well, I'm just an Amazon seller. Nobody's going to sell to me. They're going to know I work out of my garage, that type of thing, or that I employ my kid. They're going to have no idea. I mean, to them, it's like the cartoon when they were on the desert island and they look like pork chops to each other. Well, you look like dollar signs to them. They don't see you as someone working out of the garage potentially or not a real business person. They see money. So go there and act like you're, Mark Cuban or whomever, like you own the place. Be approachable, but just, represent yourself as a real business, and they won't know the difference, because there is no difference. You're bringing their product to the world's largest marketplace. So, that's nothing to sneeze at. So it's just having the courage and I guess the confidence to go to these shows, and that's where it all happens from there. I met, every time I go to this show, I meet someone that asks me how to sell on Amazon if I would show them how, and they'll send me free product or, I build networking with that just by telling them basically how they get set up to sell on Amazon if they want to sell themselves. And then, like I told the story of the previous webinar, one person wanted me to show them that was local. I went over there to show them, and they said, you know what, we changed our mind. Can you just do it for us? And I got an exclusive from them, and that worked out well for me. They ended up being one of the finalists for Martha Stewart's top products for this year. I mean, it just took off like a rocket. And that was just because I asked them, are you selling on Amazon? And they said, no, but we'd like to. And I explained what was involved and offered to teach them for free. So, and I've heard, enough of Sean's webinars and hearing them talking to know that most of the stuff he gets is through relationships, just chatting with people. He'll meet a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and next thing you know, he has pallets of that, crunchy candy that he bought a couple months ago and made a killing on. You just can't be afraid to talk to people because everybody's there to move their product,
Yeah, it's all about building relationships, of course, as I've talked about before. So, if it's something you're even, mildly interested in, you go to these trade shows, you talk to them, you tell them what you're doing, that you're, an Amazon seller, and, you might not want to buy it this time, but maybe the next time, the products are worth buying, or they have a new product, or, you just want to keep relationships if it's at retail or you're dealing with couponers or wholesale liquidation. I have people contacting me every day trying to sell me products now, just because I keep contact with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've built relationships for them. I sent things to a couple members that were near Jacksonville because somebody contacted me from Jacksonville that was a couponer and wanted to sell some products. And, of course, I wasn't going to drive 5 hours just to buy from a couponer, so I passed that on to somebody else. And, I never even talked to them before, but somebody else that I helped out in the past had forwarded their information to me.
Mm-hmm. And if you go to these shows and they ask, are you an Amazon seller, which is very rare, but if they do, I always just turn it around and say, oh yeah, isn't it amazing how much you can sell stuff for on Amazon? Just last month we sold X number of dollars, and just start talking about how successful you are or some of the things you sold on Amazon. So turn it from a, yeah, you're trying to hem and haw around how you're selling Amazon to just how wildly successful you are, because either they know what you're talking about and they're already that successful, or they've had experience. So then you're just selling them on why, you're the one that needs to sell their product on Amazon. Because like I said, it all comes down to they just want to move their product. That's their only goal, without eroding the price and everything else. So it's a mutually, they're not your customer and you're not their customer. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Each of you is bringing something to the table. So that's how you have to approach it.
Right. And I wouldn't be scanning things, at those kind of shows.
No.
You're going to get their information. They may have 5 of their products on display, but may sell hundreds. So, you get their information. If they have a catalog or a price sheet or, their business card, you're going to have that information to look at later. So take their information when you get home, go through everybody's, look it up on Amazon, see what you can find out about them, and decide if that's somebody you want to make more contact with.
Yeah.
There's usually, unless you're going to a very small show that might only have 100 or 200, a lot of these shows have thousands of vendors. So you need to make a decision if you even want to make that first contact with a lot of these, or just move on to the next one. So, just make your small chit chat, get the information you need to get, and move on. And then, take the following days or weeks to investigate what they have, more in depth.
Yeah. And that's part of the psychology of it. I mean, if you're there in their booth scanning things, you're going to kind of convey the message that you're a low-level employee, that you're there just scanning stuff. You don't come across as a business owner, because, successful business owners of multiple chains aren't in there scanning product. They do everything at a higher level. So that's all part of the psychology of just kind of coming across as a larger, successful, a Sam Cohen who does targeted $10 million a year. I guarantee you he doesn't walk into a trade show booth and start scanning stuff. That's just not what people at that level do. So you kind of just carry yourself as an executive and as a business owner, and just, you're working at the deal level, not the UPC code level. And like Sean said, you got, there'll be time enough for scanning when you get back to your room, or that night, or when they send you the list. It's very much like a speed dating type of approach. That's really have to think about it. Just think about how you come across, your impression. You don't lie, but you don't have to be specific. Where's your business located? In my garage. Well, that's not the answer. You say we're based out of Tampa, Florida, which that conveys that being based out of Tampa means that's probably where your corporate headquarters are, but you may have other locations. You just come across as, just a confident business person, basically, and that just makes people want to do business with you at that point. And same thing, the dress code's casual at the gift show, but I typically try to wear, business casual, no suit or tie or dress or anything, but you'll notice that when you walk in there, and not there's anything wrong with shorts and flip-flops, but you'll notice that people treat people differently. The vendors in the booth, they'll come out of their booth and come talk to you if you look like you're dressed up a little bit nicer than the other ones. And that's, right or wrong, whether that's the right perception, that's just kind of how they do it, because they're looking for money. And they think that you're money if you're carrying yourself that way. So that's it in a nutshell. I wish it was complicated and I had some 300-page book on how to do it, but it's really just that simple. You just got to find the company name and search for it, and bada bing, bada boom.
Okay, sounds good. So if nobody else has any questions, you can, of course, contact me or post in the group. But this stuff is all very easy. It's just you have to have the incentive to go out and do it, to expand your business, and get out of that clearance section if, that's what you're doing, because, there's no money there. There's no money buying one item. The money is, expanding your brand, expanding your product line, and however you're sourcing, if it's online or retail or, or even wholesale, even at wholesale, once you set up with those distributors, and I think Todd does the same thing, there's a lot of, clearance type items as far as wholesale. At the end of every season, just like, the items go to those TJ Maxx and Ross stores, the same thing with wholesale distributors. If it's left over, they put it there. But the good thing on Amazon is the items are sold out by everyone else. Nobody can get them, and the prices will start going up. So, if you really want to get the wholesale, you want to go cheap, then that's the way to do it. But, if you're interested in doing wholesale, then your margins are probably not going to be the same as doing retail or online arbitrage, but it's something you should know going into it. But it's an additional thing that you can do. If you're getting more money than you have time, then it's something you can do pretty easily. You can get those lists and process them. Even if you have a list of names now, programs like the CyberMonkey deal scan sheet that we talked about on Monday, can narrow those lists down and match them to the Amazon for you. So, you can take that and you can buy some products and do very little processing, very little sourcing time. And if you're still working a full-time job, you can turn that into, a little bit extra money if you have too much more money than you do, products to buy, which a lot of people are having that problem at this time of year. So don't go spend all that money on vacation. Don't go on vacation like Todd's doing for the next 2 weeks with all his money. Reinvest that money into your business. Now is not the time to take all your profits that you work so hard for all year and spend them on, trips or whatever else it is that you may be doing. I don't know, was there another question or was that it? Okay, so thanks for showing up, and we'll see you all on Monday.